Hello and welcome to Karen's Colours. I'm Dr. Karen Stokes. I'm a sociologist and my main area of interest has always been colour. I have studied colour extensively over the last few years, and for several decades before that I worked as a colour therapist, specifically dealing with chakra colours. This YouTube channel is all about how one can use colour to recognise and interpret what other people are feeling around you. Now, there are many ways of doing this, but the two main methods that I use, and they're the topics of this particular channel, are the chakra colours and the basic colour terms. Let me introduce them to you. This list of chakra colours is all about a spiritual preview. Now, many of you will probably be already familiar with them. If not, then this particular introduction is for you. There are 7 basic chakra colours, and these originated within an Eastern mysticism. That is, it came from Eastern countries, not from the West, where most of you would probably be listening from. There are 7 colours, as I said, and each one of these follow the rainbow order, and they are read from the bottom up towards the top. So we begin with red, we go through orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and end up with violet. They align with various parts of the nervous system. There are higher level chakras, though, that are available to people who are a little bit more interested in chakras than simply those basic 7 colours. Some of them add colours above the level of the basic 7. Some of them, and most commonly there are 12 of those. Colours will vary between sources, however, and so whereas this one seems to show a pale orange, a pale yellow, a pale green, a cyan type colour of violet, and some sort of magenta, they are not always the same. Some sources add chakras below the basic 7, so they take the areas from the top of the legs down to the toes and add chakras in there. Again, it depends on where you have learnt about those chakras. Others will add chakras in between the basic 7, so you find chakras popping up where there weren't before, and some of these are kept as clear or colourless, as you see here, but others will take on a number of different coloured forms. Others still will differentiate between male colours and female colours, or energies as they call them, so that anything that aligns more with the right side is considered to be a male energy, and those with the left side a female energy. Additional colours are added, and of course they all depend on what it is that you specifically are interested in putting there. But again, it comes down to which courses you have followed, which particular gurus that you are dealing with. There are also different sources that add many more chakra levels. This one happens to have 22 chakras in their entire catalogue, but I have seen sources where they will deal with up to 300 odd chakras. Others will rearrange those chakras so that they're not aligned from bottom to top, but seem to oscillate between each side. So there's an oscillation between the so-called male and female sides, or male and female energies within the human body. The colours that I use are specifically based on the Auralite or Aura-Soma methods. Auralite is an Australian company. Aura-Soma comes from the UK. And they use the basic 7 colours, that is red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet, as we see everywhere else. And they add 5 more, which are magenta, pink, turquoise, gold, and then white or silver that appear above the basic 7 chakras. Now, the basic colour terms are slightly different, so let me introduce those. Basic colour terms do not follow the same order as we find within the chakra system. It can only be examined through looking at different cultures and how they develop those terms. What then are basic colour terms? Well, they are the words we use to describe the focal points of the visible spectrum. What does that mean? Basically, it means that we define the visible spectrum, that is the colours that we see within our environments, into partitions, and those partitions we give specific labels to. Those labels are the words that we define as colour terms. Those foci, or the places where we see those colours most intensely, will differ between different cultures. Colour vision and BCTs are not the same thing. We all have an innate ability as human beings to see colour, but we can see a myriad of colours. There are hundreds and thousands and perhaps even millions of variations, even within the colour screen that you're looking at the moment. However, those colours are not identifiable to such a degree that we can all agree what those colours are. So we divide those colours into a number of different terms, and these divisions are taught to children. The correct interpretation of that spectrum is important for cultural reasons. So we spend a great deal of time in teaching children to differentiate between blues and greens and reds and oranges, for example. Now, the colour language, the words that we use to describe colours, arises from our cultural needs and experiences, and these are different for every culture. The colour identification, however, always follows a specific order. So regardless of what culture you grew up in, your culture has developed these colour terms in a very, very specific way. In English, we have 11 basic colour terms, and this seems to be the maximum number that we require for the visible spectrum in the Western world. There is, however, a 12th colour term that is available in Russian, and we're going to look at that one a little bit down the track. The first order basic colour terms, in other words, the ones that are always present if there are words for colour at all within a culture, are always white and black. Now, being first order basic colour terms, they have enormous cultural significance within each one of our ways of looking at the world. And of course, we can see that in the way in which we differentiate human beings even into black and white categories. The second order BCT is always the same one. What follows black and white is always red. And red is interesting and significant because it is the only colour that we have that is equally able to be vibrantly seen against both a black and a white background. All other colours will change in intensity depending on what sort of background they have. So red is vitally important. And these become the basic triumvirate of all colour language. If there is a third order of BCTs, then following that initial red, white, and black, we find blue, yellow, and green. Now, these three colours will not arise all together. One will occur first, and then the other two will occur in whatever order they come up. So if, for example, like here in the Western world, blue seems to have been a rather significant colour term, yellow and green would have followed it. Not necessarily as yellow-green, it could have been green and yellow. If yellow was the colour that was more important to your culture as it was developing, then blue and green would have followed that in any order. If green was more important, then blue and yellow would have followed it. But you need to have those 5 basic colour terms before you can move on to the fourth order of BCTs. Now, the fourth order of BCTs is always the same colour, and that is brown. Now, brown is interesting in that it isn't actually available on the visible spectrum. However, it is a combination of all those colours that we see there in that first to third order of basic colour terms, and it is created in such a way that it is seen as important because it has such prevalence within our visual environment. Once we have brown as our seventh basic colour term, sorry, I lost count there for a moment, we go on to the fifth order basic colour terms. Now, these ones are available in any order at all. And sometimes they occur spontaneously together. Those words are purple, pink, orange, and grey. Those colour terms now make up, those 11 now make up the entirety of the basic colour terms that we use in the Western world. I did mention, however, that there is a 12th colour, and this one at the moment is already available in Russian and has been for a long time, and it differentiates between two different types of blue. Just as we in the Western world differentiate between red and pink, the Russian language has two words for blue. And that particular term is one that has now become important for us now that we are so computer literate and use printers, and the colour I'm talking about is cyan. We don't yet have any idioms for cyan. We don't have any real cultural meanings that are acceptable to everyone with cyan, unlike the sorts of sayings that we have about all these other colours. But it's certainly something that we can look forward to as being our 12th colour term adopted into our language. So there you have it, the 12 basic colour terms that I use in colour analysis. So I guess the next step is to go and have a look at how do we analyse colours in order to make meaningful what people are saying about themselves when they wear colours or they say that they like something. I'll see you then. Bye.